Hi, my name is Edward. I'm from Qihoo 360 Enterprise Security Group. We're a company in China focused on enterprise security. And I'm switching in lieu of my colleague who is going to speak on crowdsourcing and people. I'm going to speak on WannaCry and people. So just to give you a preview, today's chat will really be more on people and process. So a lot of the other talks that you had today are more about technology, deep technology, and the code and how to hack. This one's more about a company, and hopefully it's interesting you. And so yeah, we'll get started. So there's two ways to deal with security threats. This is the first way. In case of emergency, just pull the cables. Dealing with threats getting offline, which doesn't work. And the second is actually getting hands-on, getting people involved in the process. People analyzing data, analyzing the specific attack, finding where the attack came from, figuring out remediation and pushing it to people. So today what I want to talk about are a couple of these things. 3 days of Red Bull, which is 360 and the team at 360 stopping WannaCry in China in 72 hours and how we did it. It's mostly going to be about talking about which teams were involved. I'll introduce what kinds of teams are involved in a national level incident response. I want to talk a little bit about the types of technology and products that we also use behind the scenes. Okay. So a little bit more about 360. We are a spin-out. 360 Enterprise Security Group is a spin-out from 360 Group. So there's two sides. Altogether, if we combine the consumer side, which is 360 Group, 7,000 people, and us, about 2,000, we're about 9,000, 10,000 person shop. My team or my group focuses on serving enterprise and government, and our mothership, if you will, focuses on serving consumers. But in a moment, you'll see why both of us working together has been very helpful, and specifically in data coverage and network coverage. Okay, I'm sure everyone here is familiar with WannaCry, but just in case someone isn't, WannaCry you've probably heard of ransomware, which is when something gets on your computer and they tell you to pay some Bitcoin somewhere to unlock your files. What's unique about WannaCry is it combined ransomware and NSA's Eternal Blue hack. And that tool was a tool which enabled the exploited Windows SMB protocol, and that allowed for this ransomware to spread very quickly. This attack started in May, earlier this year, and in one day infected over 200,000 computers. So it got to a lot of different places that you might have even heard, places like hospitals in Europe, those machines couldn't work. Okay, so here's sort of the battle replay. Eternal Blue actually was leaked out sometime in mid-2013, and it was patched earlier this year in April or in March by Microsoft. As you know, a lot of people don't use their patches. In April 14th, Shadow Brokers released this code, so everybody was able to start using an NSA level exploit tool, and so then 360 Microsoft released some patches, we released some patches, and then in May 12th, 360 started seeing the breakout of WannaCry, and that's because we have over 500 million PCs in China that use our software, and we have about coverage of about 10 to 20% of the DNS lookups in China, and so we're able to see when that actually started. And very quickly, we'll see over the next 3 days, we started patching the older OSs. We released a file and repair tool, so even if your file got locked, we're able to repair it. That was on the 14th, and then we released a hot fix on that on the 15th. Now, sort on the team. This is how we structure our security team at 360. We call it the Security Innovation Center, and underneath the Security Innovation Center, there's 3 security institutes. One focuses on national security. So we call it state. In China, I guess we call state, nation state, it's the same. The second is enterprise security, and the third is personal security. And underneath each of these teams, we have 15 teams that do what they want to do. Basically, 15 research teams, each focused on different areas, some focused on virtualized machines, some focused on mobile hacking, some focused on hacking the Tesla, and also PC and Windows and whatnot. We've invested a lot in these teams. They've already covered 408 CVEs, multiple championships, whatnot, lots of patents. Also found a lot of vulnerabilities. In this case, it's Android. I'm battling 2 flus from the last two weeks, so bear with me. Multiple vulnerabilities found by our team, double that of Google. But today I want to mention about 5 or 6 of those teams that were involved in WannaCry. The first is the Threat Intelligence Center, our SkyEye team, Skywall team, our CERT, which is a Security Incidents Response Center, and then 2 of our hacking teams. The first 3 teams I wanted to mention is SkyEye, and that team specializes in looking at DNS data. So for our company, one thing that's important is we need to be able to provide a situation map of national security. So having a threat intelligence team that looks at network traffic, DNS traffic, was very important for us to figure out that in our case, at 3 p.m. or 3 a.m. on May, I think it was May 12th, we found out that China is starting to be compromised by WannaCry. The second team is an endpoint team, or Skylar team. And they're the one that makes their endpoint product in a short time, but they're also the ones that are providing the system hotfix, as well as patches to Eternal Blue. The third team that was involved is our firewall team. They provided the product patching to monitor in and out traffic, so that any company that had endpoints already infected that was connecting to the WannaCry systems, the firewall team would be able to block that in and out traffic. One important team that maybe doesn't get enough attention is the CERT team, Incident Response. So 360 CERT provided the security response and coordination across multiple lines, the product, sales, even PR, delivery, and threat intelligence to deal with WannaCry. The other team, 2 other teams that are involved was the Vulcan team, which prior one pwned to own and found a lot of vulnerabilities in Microsoft. They were the one to do the file repair tools, so that even if you were compromised and your files were locked, they were able to unlock it. The third team, sometimes people forget, but product delivery and the system engineers, the sales teams are also very important in an enterprise operation. A lot of our companies a lot of our customers also included companies that had what we call computers not connected to the internet. So I don't know if in some of your companies, or maybe if you're a security engineer, you might serve some customers that security needs are so high that their computers don't really even connect to the internet. And so we had to manage 1,000 people over the weekend to take USB disks and go to each of the customers to provide the patches, immediately provide patches, because the WannaCry was not going to wait until Monday to start. The attack was always on the weekend, and so that was very important for us. These are 3 of the people, some of the stars, some of the people in this room. People were involved in the security. The first guy, Mr. Zhao, is the head of the emergency response team. And so he led all the coordination of the WannaCry instance response. And I'll touch upon the process in the next few slides. Second team, which created all the tools to remediate and also protect, Mr. Zhang. He established the security capability, threat intelligence, and DevOps. And the third is my colleague, Mr. Zhang, who is the leader of the solution delivery team. So he's the guy who was able to work with 1,000 frontline experts, security engineers, whatnot, to do all the patching, repairing, and all the communication. So processing collaboration. So for each of our customers, or for WannaCry specifically, we created an ad hoc response command center. So this is almost like a emergency. You can liken it as an emergency. If there was an earthquake or a fire in a region, you might set up a ad hoc command center in that local region. So we set up an ad hoc response there specifically for WannaCry, so that any incident that's broke out that would be communicated to us. We would have an expert team across multiple disciplines and product lines and research centers to figure out what was the main reason for that attack. We then forward those principles behind the incident to the solution team, and then the solution team would create a solution and guidance document and how to deal with that incident. And then the third would be we would deliver that product for our PR team, our product team, and our traceability analysis team to communicate and deploy the solution. So this is sort of a different way to look at, sorry, it's not changing, sorry. Okay, this is another way to look at how we clustered the response team. Emergency response team had a expert team. We had someone from solution development and then the support. In addition to that, then we had scheduling, customer feedback, as well as the contractors to collaborate with us to deploy the solution. Okay, so technology. So what was the kind of technologies that we used in sort of figuring out these things and finding out WannaCry? Well, one is customer coverage. So because we have about 90% plus of PC users and mobile phone users in China, as well as many customers in government enterprise, they were actually the ones that were able to give us the WannaCry file samples. So when we got the file samples from them, we can actually have things to work with. And also we can observe when our customers, their internal networks are sending forth WannaCry traffic. So high customer coverage or a lot of customer coverage is in the field knowledge, and that was very important for us. Here's just a broader example of some of the file coverage, the file behavior coverage, website database, et cetera, that we have, and all this was very helpful for WannaCry deployment. One specific tool that was very important was our DNS record system. So we have around coverage about 10 to 20% of all DNS traffic in China. And so when you have coverage of DNS traffic in China and across different industries, in this left-hand side, you can see that when WannaCry started breaking out. So you can even track to the exact time when that would break out in China. But I have one question. Does anyone here works in the government or state security, national security? Any of you? Okay, maybe you don't want to tell. Okay, no worries. But I'm happy to, if you're interested in some more of the details, I'm happy to connect you to people in our team to share more about this. But the right-hand side is also on specific. We can even pinpoint specific places where the computers that were compromised in this case. So some of the four main tools, or the four main outcomes that I want to cover is when we created the NSA exploit immunity toolkit. So this is to deal with Eternal Blue. So if you have this, or if you patch through Microsoft, you wouldn't be affected by the SMB exploit. And so that's one way to stop. So that was one stop tool. The second tool, if you got infected already, was our file decryption tool. So we developed a tool that was able to fetch the secret key out of memory, so that even if your files were encrypted, you're able to unencrypt them and use them, so you don't have to pay Bitcoin. The third and fourth tool are more enterprise level tools that for network and forensics. So in order to support WannaCry incidents breakout and traffic comparison, we gave a tool called Magic Mirror. And that was very much used in government and enterprises for self-inspection to make sure that you aren't compromised, or if you are compromised, what's the situation. The fourth is our basic endpoint solution, and that provided the intelligent patching for our system. Okay, so sort of wrapping up. I think this was just a very, very brief and quick introduction of some of the things that we've done for national security in China. Back in earlier at the Wuzhen conference, Mr. Xi Jinping, who's the president of China, visited our booth, and he told our president that cybersecurity is important. You must do a great job. And then sort of the final shameless plug, we also have a security conference where we meet with a lot of the government and security experts in the field, and we have that also going on this year in September 11th to 13th. If you're interested, please let me know. Maybe I can try to get a coupon for the conference. And so for my key takeaways, security is a 24/7 mindset. It's not just creating a product and deploying, setting out a product. It's actually what we call in China. I don't know. There's this term called 996. It means working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. In this case, security is really 24/7, and we had to start working on this right on the weekend, over Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And investment, second key takeaway is investment in people, building world-class teams across multiple disciplines. A lot of our teams, especially these hacking teams, we just sort of let them do what they want to do. I've seen, you could probably find, coffee making machines, or like toy guns, or like drones, or even washing machines in our hardware hacking team. And that's because they just like to explore. And so for our company, it was very important to invest in people who had a passion for security. And in this case, the people who had a passion for security in Windows technology was very helpful. Maybe a year later, or maybe some other time, maybe it will be a hack on IoT systems, or it's a hack on SCADA systems. And in that time, you really need a team that's very capable in that specific discipline to deal with that specific issue. Third, national level incident response requires coordination across multiple teams. So having product teams not enough. You need incident response, product, you need your security, your research, and finally you need customer deployment. Even if you have a solution, just like what we've seen in Microsoft. Microsoft has patches, but people don't use them, or not everyone uses them. So you really need a full range of teams to deploy the solution. And finally, technology and data. Part of these attacks were utilizing a prior known technology, so technology like Eternal Blue. We already developed technology to prevent the spread of the virus using Eternal Blue. So we already had some expertise and prior data, and our prior infrastructure that we created on DNS lookups let us able to pinpoint the customers more quickly to know who had WannaCry. So technology and data were very important, foundational what we did. Okay, so that's it. Thank you. Any quick questions or? Okay, if you have any questions, I'll be free afterwards. You can find me, and then love to chat and meet you. Thank you.
Thank you.